All right, so welcome. My name's Omari Maynard. This is my first year at the Fulton Art Fair. I appreciate the vibe. I appreciate the energy. I just appreciate everybody here. So just a little bit about me. I'm a teacher. I'm a student. I'm a father. I'm a son. I'm a brother. I currently teach at Midwood High School. I'm a high school teacher teaching geometry and algebra to special ed students. And this is what I do in the time where I'm not in the classroom. A little bit about myself. I graduated from Hampton University, so I'm an HBCU grad alumni. I went to LIU University and also went to UCF. Studied various things such as marketing, business, sport business management, and education. But ultimately, my passion is art. Drawing, sculpting, painting, and just creating. So our first piece, Big Yawn, was made in 2015. The reason why I chose this piece was I wanted to show Big just in himself and his incompletion. And I was mainly focusing on his face. The only reason why I was mainly focusing on his face is because I wanted to make sure that the crown was represented. And the reason why I'm using the city map as his crown is because he's the king of Brooklyn. And essentially Brooklyn is the best borough city in the world. So he's the king of the world. Tupac on the right. This particular piece is a speech that he said, well, not really a speech, but it was a rant that he went on after he was convicted for rape. This is the speech that he spoke to people about as he was talking to the camera. And it just basically represents, him, even though he's an artist, he's struggling to kind of find himself and embrace the American society, and a society that's not, embracing him at a point where, that he kind of needs them the most. So the black flag just represents the struggle of, him growing up in American society and just being oppressed by people who, was loving him one day and, victimizing him the next.
Thank you.
So this piece is just one of the classic films of all time, The Me Juice. You Got the Juice Now. This is, Tupac and Omar Epps' kind of big debut into the film industry. But the reason why I chose the colors is specifically like the transparency within each of the individuals is because as a team, they were a team until, circumstances kind of broke them up. And I wanted to show the transparency because of the fact that, each person has to know themselves. They have to be transparent with who they are. But when you're transparent with who you are, dynamics change. And as we all know from this classic piece, these four, boys, the dynamics totally changed and things went totally left. So it's just important to know who you are, and know who the people are around you. Hence, you got the juice now. All right, so the piece that we're looking at now is part of a three-part series. I use these pieces in my altar space and then also to, put small plants, house plants, things of that nature. But this piece in particular represents water. It's made of acrylic paint, wood, resin, crystals, and stone. So I use this when I need the spirits to bring out certain energies. So, and then again, this energy represents water, it represents fluidity, it represents power as well. So when I'm feeling like I need to be charged up by fluidity and power, this is the piece that I use. All right. So this next piece, this is my newest piece. I call this piece NYCBIG. And it just basically represents Biggie Smalls wearing the New York City map, but in his classic Coogee style. The most difficult part about this piece was getting the train lines to form a certain part of his body, and to make sure that those connections were true to how somebody's body really is. But this piece was made from, like I said, I've used about 4 New York City train maps, and then I use graphite pencil and also charcoal. So this piece is one of my earlier pieces too. I made this in 2015. This piece is called The Heart of the City. So the three smaller paintings is a picture of Jay-Z, and if you opened him up, then he would bleed Brooklyn. So that's what the red coming down on the New York City map represents. The outline that's done in spray paint is the outline of the Brooklyn borough, and of course the Brooklyn that's going down, you know, if you open them up, like I said, it represents Brooklyn all through and through. The reason why I really enjoy this piece as well is because at night, when you turn off all the lights, the Brooklyn map and then also the word Brooklyn glows in the dark. You know, to just let everybody know Brooklyn's the best borough. It's the best borough in the city. It's the best borough. Therefore, it's the best place in the world, because New York City is the best place in the world. All right, this next piece is called Nefi. It's a piece of Nefertiti. This is done with completely spray paint. The reason why I really like this piece is because if you look closely, that blue area is a checkered area as well, and if you peel off these little pieces of the blue, then you get the yellow. So what I wanted to do was just represent and just show that even though it's not necessarily balanced on each side with blue and yellow, and each triangle, each square or diamond piece within those are not necessarily perfect. When they all come together with the picture, helps it stand out, and it represents perfection, just as Nefertiti is. All right, so the piece on the left here is the second part to the three-part series. I call this piece Fire. Again, it's made of, this one in particular is made of acrylic paint and resin. So I use this when I need to be charged, and I need that fire energy to come out, then this is the piece that I use and focus on. The piece on the right is called The Supremacy of God. On it has an Indinkra symbol, which means supremacy of God. This piece was done with spray paint and then also resin. So again, when I need that presence, that that physical and manifested presence of God, this is the piece that I turn to. So that is the third piece in this three-part series, which is water, fire, and supremacy. So the piece on the left, I call Mother Africa. It's pretty much of an abstract design of how I feel like a strong African, strong, beautiful black woman is. The piece was created initially off of the heart in the middle, and then everything was designed around the heart. The left, I guess you could call it the left thigh, is the actual continent of Africa, and then the bottom foot piece is Madagascar. And then again, all these pieces, they come together to create a strong black woman. The piece on the right is what I call a warrior princess. It's based off of the Black Panther movie. It's kind of self-explanatory. I just love the piece because of the, it's simple in terms of the color pattern, and used is only essentially 4 different colors used, but the piece to me is in the way she's looking at me, and looking at you as, she is strong black woman, strong black princess, warrior. Now, our last piece on the bottom, I call Woman Strong. What this piece represents, obviously, is a rendition of, the classic World War II women's work movement. However, this piece in particular, I really wanted to focus on making the outside kind of dark and, just runny in terms of just showing the struggle, but still having that translucent, that white, and then, that muddled red in the middle to show that even though there's so much things that are going on around her and on her, she's still strong, determined, and clean. Beautiful, woman strong.